Dr. Becca with Whittaker Family Chiropractic, and I'm just in my adjusting room at the end of the day because we have something to talk about. Have you ever heard a woman say, or have you said it yourself, the phrase mom brain? It's like a secret code and a descriptor that we use to explain why we couldn't find their keys this morning, or why we forgot an appointment, or why we're in a room and we've done so many things on the way to the room that we now can't remember why we even came here in the first place. It's a reason that we forget a lot of things. It's a reason that we feel overstressed, and it's a reason that we just sometimes feel like kind of a mess. Well, I hear this phrase a lot, and I've even said it myself, but something happened this week that was a little different. I had a new patient come in, and as I was listening to her talk, she just tossed out the phrase mom brain. And something about it struck me. And the words inside my mind really were, enough. Enough of this. I just stopped her and I said, you know, that's not something you have to live with. Choosing to have a family, I don't think means that we have to choose to lose our brain forever. There's some things you can do. And she, of course, was interested, and we started to have a real conversation about some options that you have to help yourself with mom brain. Now, I'm talking about this multiple times a day with multiple people, and the reason I'm making this video is to make a little more of a description so that I can reference for patients, and also patients, if you have someone you want to share this with, then you're welcome to help them too. So it's a little bit more detail, and let's get going. Mom brain is no different than any other health condition. There's physical, emotional, and chemical reasons that these happen. And every person has a different health story. So yours might be more physical, chemical, or emotional, or some kind of mix of all of them. So pay attention to what I'm saying, see what resonates best with you, and then we can start to work on it. The first is physical. This one is one of the most common reasons, and it's one of the least understood, but it's what I work on most days in my week. So here, little lesson in neurology. Your brain communicates with your body, and your body back up with your brain through your spinal cord and through all the nerves in your body, basically. So they come through your spinal cord and they spread out. It's like a feedback loop. But what happens when you have misalignments in your spine or your joints, they feed your brain some of the most important information, and if they are stuck, if they're not moving well, then they don't feed your brain. It's like literally your brain doesn't get as much power, like it's powered down from where it could be. You can help this by getting adjusted by someone who knows how to unlock those joints and restore that flow of information. You can also help it by supporting your adjustment with movement, by exercise. So many people feel so much more alert after they exercise, and that's because movement feeds your brain. That's both the spinal movement and exercise movement. So you can check yourself for some areas that I see are common. All the areas of the spine and the body feed the brain, but some of the most common that I see out of place when someone is having mom brain is usually the top of the neck and the tailbone. So for the top of the neck, right after this video or during this video, I want you just to check your neck. Just nice and easy, go one side, other side, see if one side is more restricted than the other. Mine feels tighter right here today. I've been working a long day, so I know I need to work on that. Forward, backward. I want you to see if you hear any of those little crickly, crackly things, or if your motion is restricted. And if so, it's worth a check to get that moving and restore that motion right back up. Tailbone symptoms, often you can't sit on hard surfaces for very long without being uncomfortable. You can feel really cloudy thinking when your tailbone is off. It's hard to concentrate and hard to sit in one place for very long. Or if you've had a baby, please just get your tailbone checked. Those are some physical causes to consider, so make sure you check yourself and see what we need to do to correct it. The second thing is chemical. So the things I see the most problem with are, number one, hormones, but that has to be a separate video because there's so much that goes into that. If you're estrogen dominant, it can make it so your brain is just really fuzzy. But again, that has to be a second video. But nutrition, we're gonna talk about right now. That has to do with if you're absorbing food and then if you're taking in the right kind of food. So you can't really look around or have had much experience in real life without knowing which foods are healthy for you. So why don't we choose healthy foods? Let's talk about the real reasons. For me, the real reason, if I'm not choosing healthy food, is either I'm emotionally eating or I'm in a rush. So if I'm ladies, like I understand. Sometimes you're eating like cold food as fast as you can go. Sometimes you're foraging through the snacks for the kids. Sometimes you're just moving along. But the good news I'd like you to remember is that especially if you're in charge of the food for the family, you're in charge of the food for the family, or at least for yourself. So a key is just to have the food on hand that actually would feed your brain. Foods that feed your brain. They are real foods. They're foods that have been planted and grown. They have the nutrients in it. Our brain needs those vitamins and minerals. They need B vitamins. They need pretty much anything that's in a vegetable, a fruit. We need those, and we need healthy fats. So healthy fats are things like coconut oil, almonds, avocados. Most nuts have it in different forms. MCT oil, you can find that lots of places now. It's medium chain triglycerides, just MCT oil. That's a great form of fat. Really healthy butter, eggs from like farm fresh chickens. Some of these things seem out there to find, but they actually are so easy to find now. If you can find them at local farmers markets, that's great. People that you know, or even stores are starting to carry them. Healthy fats. If you reach for healthy fats, if you have them on hand, grab half an avocado and put some seasoning on it. I love that. You can grab, just what I do with my kids and with myself is I make sure that we have something living with every meal that we eat, with every snack. Living or that was alive, that is grown, that has, it's not going to help you have more life if it didn't start with life. Does that make sense? So have some of that on hand. Have apples and peanut butter on hand. Grab an apple, shove it in your purse. It's easier than grabbing a muffin. Just have the things on hand. That's, for me, is a key. Living things and healthy fats. Your brain, your spinal cord, your hormones, your joints, they're all made of healthy fats. So is your baby. So if you were pregnant, you gave those fats to your baby to form all of those things. If you're nursing, you gave those fats to your baby again. And then we're left with the leftovers unless you restore them. I can tell you a hack for me. I have it right here. Our acupuncturist told us about this brand and I love it. It's called Seeking Help. And this one is called Optimal Prenatal. They're actually rebranding this because it's not just prenatal. It has nutrients in it that are fantastic. It's not just for women. There's nothing in it that's gonna mess with just female hormones. I think they just did it that way because it was easier to sell at first. They're rebranding it so it's for men too. Let me tell you how much our men love it when we hand them the like pink breastfeeding mommy nutrients. But it is a protein powder mixed with some really absorbable vitamins. And that's been a really good life hack for my mornings. I put that in, some fruits, some veggies, some MCT oils, some healthy fats, and then on I go. And it has been really helpful for me. So you can't absorb the nutrients if you're not eating the nutrients, if they're not in the food. So number one is get the food around you, easily accessible in your purse, on your counter, that's easy to grab. But the other thing with absorption is you got to make sure that it's in the right form. If you're taking a supplement, I want you to check the back. It has to have B vitamins to feed your brain, lady. It just does. It just does. But those B vitamins need to be in a good form. If it says folic acid instead of methylfolate, toss that sucker out. Methylfolate is what is the form of B vitamins that grows in the food. That's how we break it down. Folic acid that's synthesized in a lab actually blocks your absorption of those things. So sometimes what we're taking is actually blocking what we need. This supplement has methylfolate. It has all kinds of methylated vitamins. It's fantastic. The other thing that messes with your absorption is stress. When you are stressed, you do not digest. Now, sometimes that's really hard to do. I was making a dinner with my husband for my mom and my kids just a couple days ago, And there was so much just snipping and snapping at the table, and spilling things that by the time I actually got to eat my food, I know you know what I'm saying, I was so stressed out that I was like, why do I even try this? Do I need to like just keep my plate in a warmer and then I'll eat it quietly by myself after this meal is done? I don't know. If you have any ideas about that, let me know. Write it in the comments section or talk to me. But I do know that when I can, I digest so much better if I will just relax while I'm eating. Be grateful for my food, sit down in quiet, and eat it slowly. And it sounds like a pipe dream when you are in a busy life, but honestly, sometimes you really can do it. It only takes 5 minutes. Sometimes I have to eat fast on the run. Sometimes I have a 10-minute lunch break. But if I am breathing slowly and calmly while I eat, I still absorb it. So, something to keep in mind. Just focus on your food with gratitude and try to eat slowly as often as you can, and it will help. The other thing is emotional. So stress. Stress is the thing that affects your nervous system function the most. It's like sending static up on our radio. Our nervous system works a lot in frequencies. If you're trying to think through a brain that's full of static, then no wonder you can't think. So the thing to remember with stress is you don't have to have a perfectly calm life. But if you give yourself little breaks, 5 to 10 minute breaks where you just bring it down, that doesn't mean binge watching Netflix. That doesn't mean trying to escape everything. It means getting the barrage of information gone. You just breathe. You turn off the radio. You enjoy the sunshine. 5, 10-minute breaks help so much. And sleep. I know. It's like another pipe dream. But for this, I just want you to think about if you've ever seen a toddler that needs to have a nap and it's just ridiculous because he or she is not taking one. And about how you know he will restore to his perfect loving self after his nap. We are the same. Sometimes you just need sleep to restore. Do you know how many grown-ups I would like to give a nap to? Think about it. I know you have a few. So please, if you get the opportunity to sleep, don't do the dishes. Sleep. And try to get some sleep at night. Whenever you can. As often as you can. It's not perfect. But do what you can. Just before we end, I have this cartoon in my head, right? Of a woman who's sitting down with her head all kinked to the side, barely keeping her eyes awake, holding a crying baby. Baby was crying all night. She maybe has to go to work. Her tailbone hurts when she's sitting down. She's trying to wake up, so she has like a soda, a diet soda. That's even better. Diet soda has aspartame. Aspartame is a neurotoxin. It literally is toxic for your brain cells. Diet sodas, diet anything, check. If it has aspartame, that can be killing your brain on its own. So I picture this lady, and I picture her just exhausted and saying like, I don't know why I can't think straight. It must just be mom brain. And I think some of that is funny to me. Mostly it's not funny. Because I can't think of a profession, or not very many professions, where they need a healthy working brain more than a mom does. The management skills that it takes, the scheduling skills, the trying to teach accountability, or all the things we try to teach and try to be ourselves, it takes one heck of a beautiful working brain, or even a moderately working brain. So I think, man, in that cartoon, what would happen if we sat that woman up, if she could set up, if we got her adjusted so her tailbone doesn't hurt, so her neck isn't kinked, if we got her baby adjusted so her baby was sleeping through the night and the whole family was getting sleep, if we took that diet toxic soda out of her hand and we put in water, or we put in a protein shake that's made with healthy fats, that's made with fresh food. What if instead of having a muffin in her hand that she's eating on the way to her appointment that she's late for, what if she had an apple that she turned off the radio and she just ate it nice and slow? Or she ate oatmeal thinking about how grateful she was to have some food to eat. calmly before she went. How different would that be? You know, we all have our own path we're walking. We all have things that make any one of these things difficult to handle. But while we're walking that path, I say we just help each other out. And if any of these ideas helped you out, then I'm glad to be here doing it. And I'm hoping that all of us can have a little better mom brain.